What is up, guys? It's Mega giving you another deck for Link Evolution. Today, guys, doing a Salamangreat deck, doing Soul Burner Proud with the reincarnations, you know. This deck's of course my own opinion of the day, and it's completely cool if you guys disagree with any cards that are shown in this video. This is the first time I've ever made a Salamangreat deck, guys. Up to a couple of days ago, I've never played them. Before. I've watched a lot of people play it. I know they're very good in the meta, and they're still good even with Mirage Stellio being banned. So yeah, I know Salamangreats are a very powerful deck. Ladybug and Ladybug's Lady D-Bug, sorry, is limited to 2, and Mirage Stellio is banned in this game, so you gotta get around that. If you are struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, I highly recommend you check out the card hub. Not only if it tells you a card is in this game or not, but tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, and card pack. That includes the new cards that are added via the update that was released a couple of days ago. That's in the description down below, along with my Twitch, where I do try and stream this game as best as I can, and as quickly as I can, or not quickly, as much as I can. Where we just chill, play Yu-Gi-Oh, and make decks. Both of them will be in the description down below. And with that, let's get into the video. Starting us off, guys, is some hand traps. We're running the 2 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Springs. She's limited to 2, guys, otherwise we'll be running 3. Ash Blossom is a really good card, guys, especially in this deck because she's a fire attribute. It means you can abuse her a lot more. Should your opponent add a card from the deck to their hand, special summon from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the grave, Ash Blossom shuts it down. Really great. And also, the reason why we're running 2 and why I would love to run 3 is because we are running Desires. So in case you do banish one, at least you still have one in your deck. 2 copies of DD Crow. This is a quick effect, guys, where you can discard this card to target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. So it's like Called by the Grave, but Called by the Grave only works for monsters. That does negate their effects. DD Crow doesn't negate the effects, but it does work on spell and traps as well. 2 copies of Draw and Lock Bird. This is good against combo decks that rely on keep drawing and just going explosive of it. You can run 3 if you want and take out Nibiru, but I decided to run 2 and run 1 Nibiru because Nibiru is still very useful if you are against an opponent that likes to spam decks. But Draw and Lock Bird is good against, I'd say, like hero decks that like to build up a combo, set up a fantastic board, and yeah, Droll just shuts them down. 3 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. So Phantasme, if your opponent summons a Link monster, which majority of all of the combo decks or big decks do, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you get to draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters your opponent controls, plus 1. So if they only summon the 1 monster, you can summon Phantasme and you get to draw 2 cards. Fantastic, and you get a monster on board. And when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard 1 card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So Phantasme, very good hand trap, lets you draw cards off it. 1 copy of Flame Buffalo. The only reason I'm running Flame Buffalo is because Lady D-Bug is limited to 2. If she was at 3, I'd take out the Flame Buffalo, but I decided, right, I'm kind of want another summon, so I decided to run Flame Buffalo as well as Lady D-Bug. If this face-up card leaves the field, you can discard a Cyverse monster, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You go +1 in card economy, or you go card neutral if you summoned this linked into, like, say, Balinks, and then obviously send a Cyverse to the grave and draw 2 cards. But it does set up the graveyard because obviously you can discard Salamangreat and use the effects for the graveyard. And then 2 copies of Lady D-Bug. This is the one you really want to see in your hand turn 1. Lady D-Bug is such a good card, guys. For instance, if you've got a full hand of hand traps, say your opening hand is 4 hand traps and Lady D-Bug, you can still go explosive and set off a very good board just from Lady D-Bug, and then you're not using any of your other hand traps. You've still got 4 cards to just disrupt your opponent while having a board in play. So Lady D-Bug is fantastic. When she's normal or special summoned, you can add a level 3 or lower Cyverse monster from your deck to your hand. So realistically, from Lady D-Bug, you're going to search that Gazelle. If Gazelle is already in hand, you'll search something else. But Gazelle is real enough to target you'd want to target with Lady D-Bug. And then 1 copy of Nibiru, the Primordial Being. Again, I'm only running 1 Nibiru because I didn't want to run 3 Droll and Lot Birds, but you can always run the 3 Droll and take Nibiru out. During your opponent's main phase, if your opponent normal or special summons 5 or more times, you can activate Nibiru's special ability, tribute all monsters your opponent controls, special summon Nibiru from your hand, and then you can summon a token to your opponent. To your opponent's side, equal to the number of. So I think it's the token's attack is the combined attack of the original of the tributed monsters. But Nibiru just interrupts a lot of plays. Like your opponent goes like mad, going like building up a lot of boards. Like, I think against a hero deck, people do summon more than 5 times. Your opponent's trying to do that. Just Nibiru them, take out the field. That way they can't do anything. They've just lost their entire board. And then going on to the Salamangreat cards, guys. 1 Salamangreat Falco. You don't need more than 1. Falco is great for bouncing monsters you have back to the hand, so you can use their effects later. So Salamangreat Falco, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Salamangreat spell or trap that's in your graveyard and set that target. So it recycles your Raw, your Rage, and it also can recycle your Core as well, so you can keep playing that effect. And also you can. While it's in the graveyard, you can target a Salamangreat monster you control, return it back to the hand, and special summon Falco from your graveyard. So, for instance, if you want to keep reusing Gazelle's effect, you just bounce back Gazelle back to your hand and summon Falco. Then that way, Gazelle is set up for like the next turn or during your opponent's turn, and then you can just summon Falco for free. And then 2 copies of Salamangreat Foul. If you normal or special summon a Salamangreat, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's a free summon, and also it has an effect where you can send 1 Salamangreat card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard. Target 1 set card your opponent controls. They can't activate that card for that turn. So it kind of stuns some of your opponent's cards if you know they're going to play them. And like I say, you set up the graveyard perfectly because you can set the correct cards you want. And then 3 Salamangreat Foxy. On normal summon, guys, Foxy is like a pot of Duality, where you can check the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add a Salamangreat to your hand, and then you have to shuffle the rest into the deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can if this card is in your graveyard, I should say, and there's a face-up spell or trap on the field, you can discard Salamangreat. You can discard 1 Salamangreat card, special summon this bad boy, and then target 1 face-up spell and trap on the field and destroy it. So it's great against field spells, such as if you're against, I don't know, Aztec Nistars or anything like that, or your opponent's like, Dark Magic Circle. Like, opponent's got a face-up spell, just discard a Salamangreat, summon Foxy, destroy the card. That way it's gone. Or Eternal Soul to destroy all your opponent's monsters. You see what I mean? Foxy, great card. Gazelle, one of the best. It's limited to 1, guys, unfortunately. If this card is... if a Salamangreat is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normally special summoned, you can send Salamangreat from your deck to the graveyard. And you can only use each effect once per turn. So what you'd most probably do if you have Lady Debug... So say your hand was 4 hand traps and Lady Debug. You would play Lady Debug, search Gazelle, go into Balinx. Balinx would search out your field spell, you'd reincarnation into another Balinx, and then because a Salamangreat has just gone to the grave, you summon Gazelle. Gazelle's effects in a trigger, sends a card to the graveyard. So you could, so say this is turn 1, you could send, I don't know, you could send Jack Juggler, you could send Falco, you could send your Spinny, and then they're set up, and then you could link summon into your Sunlight Wolf, and then you see what I mean, you could play Spinny's effect against Sunlight Wolf, then Sunlight Wolf's effect will trigger, add back the Gazelle, and you see what I mean. That's just all one play. So Gazelle's back in your hand ready. You've got a Salamangreat on field, you've got your field spell, and you've done that without using a single hand. You still got your 4 hand traps in play in your hand. That's all from 1 normal summon. So Gazelle is abusive. No wonder it's limited to 1. Two copies of Jack Juggler. So what Jack Juggler does, guys, if you control a Salamangreat Link monster, or this card's in your grave, you can target a Salamangreat monster in your grave, shuffle it back into the deck, and special summon Jack Juggler next to one of the Salamangreat Link monster's arrows. So this guy is great for late game. So say you've already gone through like a lot of your play, like your Xyzas, your Links summons. You can just return them back to the grave, just return it back to the deck so you can reincarnate again. And again, it's a free summon at the end of the day as well on top of that. One Salamangreat Mole. During your main phase, if you control no links, you can special summon. During your main phase, if you link summon this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand to a link monster this card points to. But if you could, and it also has, so that's again a free summon, and then also it has another effect where if you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target 5 Salamangreat cards in your grave, shuffle them back into the deck, and draw 2 cards. So it's like a pot of avarice. So you've got 1 card, so you've got 3 cards that's like a pot of duality, then you've got 1 card that's like a pot of avarice. Yep, that Salamangreat's pretty much broken. And then finally, we've got 2 copies of Salamangreat Spinny. The reason why you don't run free Spinny now is because obviously Mirage Stelio is now banned, so you can drop it to 2. It's still great at 2 because if you control a Salamangreat card, you can discard Spinny, give it 500 attack. That's great for the attack boost, and also it sets up Spinny in the graveyard. Where if you control a Salamangreat other than Spinny, you can send this. You can special summon this card from the graveyard. It is banish should it leave the field, but you can use both effects in one turn. So you could just send, say for instance, you've got Heat Lion in play. You could just play this Spinny's effect, give it 500 extra attack, just resurrect Spinny next to it, then just resurrect Spinny. You've got another play for going to higher links and to go into more. And that's it for the monsters. Going into the spells, running 3 Cybernet and Mining. Mining, guys, you send 1 card from your hand to the grave, and then you get to add a level 4 or lower Cyberus from your deck to your hand. And because Lady Debug is actually a Cypher's card, Cybernet Mining does search out the Lady Debug, and also Mining, you send 1 card from your hand to the grave, so you can set up the Salamangreats perfectly. 2 copies of Power Desires, lets you draw more cards, guys. That's why you're kind of running a lot of the like hand traps or whatever, more at 2 ofs, because then at least then even if you do banish one of them with Desires, there's still a chance you still have more, and you get to draw them 2 extra cards, which could just, change the entire board really. 1 copy of Salamangreat Circle. This guy has 2 effects, guys. He's limited to 1. He has 2 effects. You can add 1 Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, which is just Beast, and also you can target 1 Salamangreat Link monster you control, and basically you can basically if you can target 1 reincarnated Salamangreat, I should say. That monster is unaffected by monster effects this turn. But really, you're going to play Circle to search out a Salamangreat, and because it's a quick play, you can play it during your opponent. So you can play it during your opponent's turn as well. And say this card is great to recycle with Sunlight Wolf as well, because you can just keep recycling Sunlight Wolf and the Roar. No, sorry, it's just you can just keep recycling the Circle and the Roar because of Sunlight Wolf. Then 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary. This is the field spell, guys. It's searchable with Baylink, so you don't need to add more than 1. If you have a Salamangreat Link monster, you can basically reincarnate Link Summon, which you don't know what that is. You can use a Salamangreat Link monster as material to summon the exact same from the graveyard. And the Salamangreats have effects that trigger if they were reincarnation Link summoned. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then 3 Will of the Salamangreat. This guy is never a dead card in your hand. It's a continuous spell. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 Salamangreat monster from your hand or graveyard. So you see what I mean? Never a dead card. You play Salamangreat. You play with a Salamangreat. You have access to all of your monsters in your graveyard, even your links, even your Normalins, and you can just get explosive from there. You can send this face-up card from the field and target 1 Salamangreat Link monster you control. That was reincarnationed. Target 1 Salamangreat Link monster you control that was Link summoned. Yeah, that was reincarnation from your hand. Graveyard up to the number. Oh, sorry. I was really getting confused there. So you could send Salamangreat. So you could say, well, Salamangreat to the graveyard. Target one link monster you control that was reincarnation. So say Heat. Heat Lion. You get to summon Salamangreat from your graveyard equal to the number of links it has. So that's actually a very good. Good one. So I've never played that second effect. I've only played the first one, so I do apologise on that. Then going on to the traps, we're running 2 infinite permanents. It's a hand trap again, guys. And also if you're going first and you've done your board, you can just set this card so it's not classed as a hand trap, but it's still a very good one. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effect until the end phase. And if you have no cards on and if you control no cards, you can play this card from your hand. So like I say, this is basically a hand trap going turn 1 because you can stop a lot of your opponent's plays. But if you're going first or you've already got a monster on a board, you draw into it and you've got a and you're going to do your board, you can just set a permanence and play it like normal. And then two copies of Salamangreat Rage. You can activate one of the following effects. You can send Salamangreat monster from your hand or face up to the field and destroy one card your opponent controls. Or you can target Salamangreat, a link monster that was reincarnationed, and destroy cards your opponent controls up to the monster's link rating. So for instance, if you played Rage on a reincarnated Heat Lion, you can destroy 3 cards your opponent controls. So Rage, really great to get around a lot of pesky cards. And then 2 copies of Salamangreat Roar, one of the best traps in this entire deck, guys. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated where you control a Salamangreat Link monster, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And if this card is in the graveyard, if you reincarnation Link summoned, you get to set this card from your graveyard so you can use it again, but it is banished when it leaves the field by that effect. But that's still a very useful trap, guys. Shuts down your opponent, and like I say, it's just one of the, and you can get it back with Sunlight Wolf. And then going into the extra deck, guys, we're running 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, one of the best cards in my opinion. Shuts down a lot of monsters that activate their effects in the graveyard. So this would actually work against in the mirror match, because obviously you can shut down your opponent from during their play, so they can't do all this stuff. You can shut down spirals, like any monsters that would activate their effects in the graveyard. This guy shuts them down. We're going on to the links. We are running 1 Appaloosa. Appaloosa is great for getting for each link material you use, she gains 800 attack. And during once per chain, so you can do it multiple times in a turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make her lose 800 attack to negate that monster effect. So the more monsters you tribute for Appaloosa, the more negates she's going to get on board. 1 Borrowload Dragon. You can either run this guy or Borrow Sword, guys. I decided to run Borrowload. Another player can target this card with monster effects, so it has some protection. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 500 attack, which can come in handy, and your opponent cannot activate card or effects in response to that effect. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can basically summon it. Next to your zone, and then you just go on and you go and attack with their own monster, which is a pretty nice effect, guys. And then you send it to the graveyard during the end phase of the next turn. So you can take control of your opponent's monsters and just attack with them, and then they're going to go to the graveyard. So yeah, very useful effect. So yeah, I decided to run Borrowload for that, but if you really want to go for like some form of an OTK, you can go into Borrow Sword. 1 Hilter, the Flame Charmer Ablaze. This is great against mirror matches, guys. If you're against another Salamangreat player, you're going to steal their own fire monsters. If you're against any monster that has Ash Blossom in their deck, this is great against that. So what this card is, guys, you can target 1 fire monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it next to a card, special summon it to a zone this card points to. If this link summon card is destroyed by a battle or by opponent's card effect, you can add a fire monster with 1,500 less attack or defense from your deck to your hand. So not only does it have that search, but it's great against your opponent. If your opponent plays any fire monster, so again, if they Ash Blossom you, and you can just go into Hilter later or like straight away, you can take back you can use their Ash Blossom, and you can go into a Link 3 or higher play. one copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Again, it's a fire, so that makes life a little bit easier. You can, if this card is link summoned, you can discard one card, then target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. And if this card was co-linked when you activated the effect, you get to draw an additional card, which is kind of nice. But because you're discarding a card, again, your Salamangreat activate right in the graveyard. It just makes life a little bit easier. And then 3 copies of Balinx. Balinx is the go-to monster you're going to play straight to start off your combos, to start off everything. So it's 1 level 4 or lower Cyberus monster. If this card is link summoned, you get to add the field spell, Salamangreat Sanctuary, from your deck to your hand, which is just absolutely OP. And if a Salamangreat card would be destroyed by battle by a card effect, you get to banish this card from your grave and grave instead, and your monster's not destroyed. You can only use that effect once per turn, but it gives your monsters a lot of protection. And then 2 copies of Salamangreat Heat Lion. We're running 2 guys so we can reincarnation link summon it. If this card is link summoned, you can target one fire. You can target 1 card in your opponent's spell and trap, shuffle it into the deck, and once per turn during your main phase, if this card was reincarnated, link summoned using Heat Lion, obviously, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, target 1 monster in your graveyard, their monster's attack becomes equal to whatever card you target. So, it's link summon effect, it's not a once per turn, so say your opponent has 2 cards in the spell and trap card zone, you can play Heat Lion. Because the Sanctuary's effect, you go into your second Heat Lion, you can just bounce back both the cards, and then you get its proper effect where you can just target Balinx in your grave, your opponent's attack goes down to 500. Absolute fantastic. And then we've got 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf, guys. This is 2 fire effect monsters. Again, you know what I mean. This is what I'm saying with our fire monsters, like for instance Nightmare Cerberus and all that lot, so it does come in handy in this deck. If a monster is normal special summoned next to this card, so next to a zone this card points to, you can add any fire monster from your grave to your hand. So this one card can recycle Ash Blossom. So you've used Ash Blossom's a fire monster. Sunlight Wolf lets you re-add it back to your hand, which is a very useful effect, guys. And also it's great for the Gazelle, because you can just keep abusing Gazelle. You can't normal special summon the monster you added back to your hand, so again, Ash Blossom's a fantastic target, because you're not going to really summon her anyway. During your main phase, if this card was reincarnation link summoned, you can add a Salamangreat spell or trap from your grave to your hand. That's what I'm saying. It's great to recycle the core. It's great to recycle the raw. And if your opponent does get rid of the field spell, you can kind of bring this card back. So you can bring the field spell back as well. And then 1 transcode talker. We are running the transcode talker and the update jammer. So transcode, when this card is co-linked, it gains it and the monster it's co-linked to gain 500 attack. Also, your opponent cannot target any of them with card effects, which really is a great effect. You can target 1 link 3 or lower Cyberus monster in your grave, and you can special summon it next to this card points to. So that's why you would use the update jammer. You cannot special summon monsters a turn you activate that effect though, so please be mindful with Transcode's effect. And then update jammer, once per battle, doing damage calculation. If your Cyberus monster attacks opponent's monster, or just attacks in general, you can activate a quick effect where you can negate all other card effects currently in play until the end of the damage step, which is actually a very useful effect. It gets around a lot of monsters that have like boost attack or anything like that, which is just absolutely fantastic. And then monsters use their original attack and defense as they were. And also, if any opponent's monster is destroyed by a battle and sent to the grave, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, that link monster can make a second attack during the battle phase. So a great combo would just be you link summon into update jammer, you use update jammer and another one of your Salamangreats or any one of your other monsters. You link summon into transcode. Because you use update jammer to summon transcode, it can attack twice, and then you just play transcode's effect to resummon the jammer. Jammer and transcode will then gain additional 500 attack, and then because of transcode they can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and in addition update jammer can just shut down all other card effects on the field when they attack. So it's a really great combo with them too. And that is it for the deck, guys. This deck is actually very fun. I've only got 1 dual replay, replay, but it went on for that long against an At-Ignistar deck, but it was so fun. Both of us were on it. He was absolutely a fantastic opponent, so I decided to put that in, and you can see both of our decks in action. I am going to make another deck pretty soon, so please stay tuned for that. If you have any ways to improve this deck, let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Makes me see if you like this deck or not, and it helps the channel grow. And with that, guys, please remember please remember, stay safe, stay healthy, take care.